Alright, welcome back to your video lecture on chapter number 5, dealing with classical China and India. Now we're going to look and focus on India. And let's going to start with the most important social structure in Indian history called the caste system. We need to know this, we need to know this, we need to know this, we need to know what the caste system is. So how does it all start? Well, first of all, what is the caste system? The caste system is defined as a well-defined social hierarchy in India, right? Well-defined social hierarchy. So then we go straight down to it. Here we go. Here's the caste system. There we go. That's the caste system. So we have the priest on top. We have the warriors and the rulers, the kings in the middle or in the second top. In the middle, you have merchants and farmers. In the bottom, you have peasants and common workers. Then you have a whole other group called the Untouchables. So this is the caste system. You are born into it. You cannot move up. You cannot move down. Not in this life, at least. And so when does this all start? It starts with these people, the Aryans. Remember them from chapter 2? So the Aryans used to live up here in Central Asia. They were nomadic people. They migrated down into India. Right? This is the Indus Valley that you see right here. So as the Indus Valley was in its decline, right, the cities of Harappa and Mohenjo-daro were slowly declining. The Aryans come in and they start settling down. They give up the nomadic lifestyle. They start settling down. They start mixing with the people that live there. Those people, the Indus people, they were called Dravidians. So this is a social system created by the Aryans to differentiate themselves from the Dravidians. And they started using, they would call this the Varna system. Caste system is what we call it now, but back then it was called Varna. And Varna means skin color. So what tended to happen is that the upper class people tended to be the lighter skin Aryans, and the lower class people tended to be the darker skin Dravidians. But over time, and this was, 4,000 years ago almost, over time it changed. It wasn't really about race anymore. It was about profession. Right? So whatever job you had is what determined your status in the caste system. So there's four major classes in the caste system: the Brahmins, who are the priests; the Kshetras, which are the warriors or the kings, the rulers; Vaishyas, who are the merchants and the landowners; and the Shudras, who are the peasants, right? So there's also restriction between social classes. So for example, a Brahmin, right, a priest, cannot be friends with a Shudra. A Kshatriya, a warrior, cannot be friends with a merchant. Right? These are banned. You're forbidden. You can't marry them. You can't live in the same house with them. And it was viewed that it was not only something negative social, but it's also spiritual. Like if a Brahmin hangs out with a Shudra, his spirit will be tainted because he is more pure than a lower class, lower caste peasant would be. So here we see again another chart of the different castes and what they're supposed to do. There's another group that I mentioned before, right? The Untouchables, these people down here. Right? They're also called Dalits or Dalits. And basically, they're not officially part of the caste system because their jobs are considered so unclean, so filthy, that they're not really considered part of society. So you wouldn't even want to look at them because just by looking at them, your soul can get tarnished. So people who dig graves, people who deal with dead bodies, people who clean sewers, right? These are the dirtiest, nastiest jobs, right? Those are the Untouchables. Right, you have all these other professions you see here. So there's a lot of discrimination against the Dalits, even to this day. Even though it's illegal in India nowadays, there's still some of those old traditional discrimination and prejudice that still exist. And definitely no one wants to be an untouchable. So where do they get these ideas from, right? Where does this caste system come from? And it's all based on the Hindu religion. Before that, it was called the Vedic religion. The idea, according to the one of the myths, right? There's like this ultimate god, And when the earth was created, they said that from the mouth, from the head, right, the smartest people will be the Brahmins, right? The warrior kings, those are the arms. That's what gives society its strength, right? The landowners and the business owners, the merchants, right? Those are the legs of this society because they keep society up and running, right? And the feet, where everyone steps on because they're the lowest and they're closest to the dirt, right? Those are your peasants. So, over time, over hundreds and hundreds of years, new jobs start popping up. And within the caste system, we start seeing what we call sub-caste, right? Like in between the caste, there's other groups. And these are known as the jatis. So, for example, if you were, I don't know, if you were an iron worker, right? An iron worker would have been a new job during classical India, because before it would have just been bronze weapons or bronze worker. So is an iron worker lower class or middle class, right? That's a whole new position that doesn't exist before. So the caste system is constantly evolving and changing and growing and growing and growing to create all these new occupations. All right, and we're going to see that throughout India's history, there's going to be a whole bunch of people moving into India. Right, new people, right? People from the Middle East, people from Africa, right? People from Southeast Asia, and they start moving into India. And now the caste system has to say, okay, where do all these people fit? Where do they fall under, right? And that's what the jatis are for. That's what the sub-castes are for, right? To accommodate. And no matter what, this system is going to keep going. Everyone's going to know their spot in society. Everyone's going to know their role and what is expected of them. So this is the caste system of India. It still exists to this day. It is a continuity. This has existed since forever in India, and we're gonna keep touching on it every time we talk about Indian society. All right, but you need to know what the caste system is. All right, so that's it for this short part of chapter 5.